Right, my name is Unbeatable. I'm a proud Miro family member, and as part of my portfolio here at Miro, I take care of Ubiquiti. So today we'll be talking about UniFi, the different applications where it can fit into either your home, office, enterprise solutions, a bit of a public sector, those variables that we'll discuss within that application range. Okay, so without further ado, again, Bronze Stream, thank you very much. Appreciate it. ipcon video talk hosted, Miro. We'll see you soon. Let's start with this presentation. Right. Good day. I see that we have a couple of new people on the group. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. Good to see you again. Can anybody just please confirm that they can in actual fact see my screen, ipcon Miro? Perfect. Thank you, Charles. Thank you. Right, let's start. Ubiquiti networks. Ubiquiti has become a leader in management Wi-Fi with its end-to-end UniFi systems. With UniFi's unbeatable value, performance, and scalability enhanced by a free management platform is why the world has this renowned brand as a wireless or Wi-Fi leader. And of course, I believe going forward that this brand will definitely continue to generate excitement for many, many more years. For those of you that missed my face earlier, my name is Unbeatable, and as I've mentioned, I am the product manager at Miro, taking care of Ubiquiti. Right, with the agenda today, we're going to be discussing the connectivity addiction. I think it's an addiction that we can all relate to somehow or another. Who is Ubiquiti and why they are the global leaders in managed Wi-Fi? What does Ubiquiti offer in selecting the right Wi-Fi? And then, of course, I want to take us through an overview of the UniFi applications. These applications are home applications. We'll be looking at mesh point applications and access points, the differences in those. Office applications, we'll be talking about the high performance requirements, the scalability when you do network deployment, and of course, reliable Wi-Fi for any office space. And as I've mentioned, there's a bit of a public service application discussion as well. What is a cloud key? And then, of course, the SDN platform, which is UniFi's software-defined management platform, and the apparent benefits thereof. Some of you might recognize yourself in this very depictive image, but make no mistake about it. Internet addiction is a real thing, and it could potentially affect millions of people around the world. In fact, according to a recent study, it is currently thought that internet addiction is even more common than alcoholism. A recent report compiled by Iconic Displays found that 67% of people interviewed couldn't go without Wi-Fi internet access for more than a day. A further 80% of those interviewed said that a week with no Wi-Fi would make them even grumpier than a week with no coffee. Right, the advent of internet communication, therefore, has certainly changed the way that people live their lives. But is addiction the cost that the population is paying? Formerly, internet addiction is known as Internet Use Disorder, so it's IUD abbreviation, and it carries many of the hallmarks of textbook addictive behavior. Internet addicts can experience symptoms such as losing track of time, isolation from family and friends, a sense of guilt or defensiveness about their internet use, and a loss of productivity. I'm not a parent yet, but I do believe that I've got a strong following from the parental side when we talk about these addictions with regards to internet. The connectivity addiction. I'm sure that picture depicts a library, but I'm sure many can see their own dining room tables in that picture as well. And for the parents out there, especially now, that some virus restrictions have placed kids at home to be homeschooled, I'm sure you can relate. A child in the home without Wi-Fi, again, not speaking out of experience, but I'm sure is like diving with sharks without the cage. But Wi-Fi internet access available almost anywhere these days, it is no wonder that people have become so dependent on this tool. What does this mean for us creating an environment supporting these notions of having a worldwide connection? This is not just business related, but given our current state condition, it is the communication factor basically that we build our lives on, and means of communication. We can no longer ignore the fact that we need and live off of Wi-Fi. But how do we go about our daily lives with this in mind? Global leaders in managed Wi-Fi. There's a gentleman that I would like to very briefly kind of introduce to you guys by the name of Robert Pira. UniFi is an all-in-one enterprise solution that is supported by a fully integrated software-defined network. As I've previously mentioned, the SDN solution, which of course envelopes your Wi-Fi applications, including surveillance and networking devices. But it started with this man, Robert Pira. In actual fact, he was an Apple employee at the time and reasoned that boosting power on Wi-Fi devices could potentially increase their transmission range, which in turn could reach the unreachable. Apple ignored the suggestions, and Pira went on to start Ubiquiti Networks proudly in 2005, focusing predominantly on underserviced, or served rather, an emerging market. He succeeded in building a global recognized brand, known today to us as Ubiquiti, for innovative technology and scalable solutions. Implementing a software controller to manage and monitor your deployment was just the cherry on the cake, enhancing flexibility and performance. So to you, Mr. Robert Pira, we say thank you indeed. What does Ubiquiti offer in selecting the right Wi-Fi? The UniFi Wi-Fi systems is a scalable platform with an incredible price point. From enterprise and business solutions, UniFi Access Point is a solution that is designed to be easily deployed and of course then managed, either from your UniFi app that we'll talk about in a moment, on your phone, or alternatively the SDN platform, which we will talk about as well a little bit later in the presentation to show some of these key features. However, using the UniFi controller can be quickly configured and administered without any special training. So the ease of application is the selling point here. This is specifically attractive to homeowners, public sectors, and hospitality, where security and control is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. UniFi's powerful switches will not only power these access points, but they will also assist in configuring your solution, one port at a time. UniFi's ranges extend past access points with surveillance and VoIP possibilities. Need remote management? No problem. What does Ubiquiti offer in selecting the right Wi-Fi? Part 2. Great for business and multi-branch deployments. Ubiquiti has a range of cloud key controllers, as you can see on the left-hand side, 2 of them in picture. If you're not able to save the SDN software on a machine that is available for you to log into, you can use these cloud key controllers. So basically a device that you leave on the client's premises. Generation 2 cloud key is perfect for a business or home solution where control is not just a philosophy anymore. You'll be able to remotely monitor solutions where control is not just a life philosophy, but as I've said, it has become the necessity of which we find today's life in. Okay, have surveillance that requires footage to manage your network from anywhere in the world. The surveillance you can also store on the Cloud Key Plus that you can see at the bottom, the bigger version, and it's the perfect remote management piece of equipment that will definitely add value to your network. We'll talk about this more on the specific side of things a bit later in the presentation. I just wanted to do a quick introduction so that you understand where these different placements are. Add UniFi surveillance to your portfolio and experience the freedom of controlling your entire network with these cameras from pretty much anywhere in the world. And that's one of the biggest selling points as well. UniFi has a VoIP portfolio consisting of enterprise VoIP phones, features such as touchscreen, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi capable, adds to the family of UniFi. It is an all-in-one enterprise solution. Those cameras as well, waterproof IP cameras with optical zoom, high sensitivity microphones, and then of course HD resolution. So let's start and have a look at the UniFi applications with unbeatable value, performance, and usability. The three sectors that I want to talk about today include home, office and enterprise, public and commercial. And there's something to be said about a product line of Wi-Fi equipment, which covers all these type of architectures, from home's quick and easy setup with mesh possibilities, all the way through to office and enterprise solutions, providing high performance, scalable, and reliable Wi-Fi for any office space. And then on the other end, with public and commercial sectors, they can be assured of the deployment stability and a platform offering complete control. So let's start with the first one, home applications. I'm sure there's a part of life that you can very well remember as a time where you experienced more unplugging and plugging back your internet in a fairly large box your service provider gave you. From users whom a solid Wi-Fi internet connection is important, or then rather a challenge, homeowners, or even smaller startup businesses, and people who have a growing number of devices, which, let's be real, it's nearly everyone. A Ubiquiti UniFi system can be a high-performance alternative to the current issues and bad mesh struggles. UniFi has a ton of power, speed, reliability, and customizability, and can be all yours, leaving you free reign to build your own home network. It might seem like a pretty geeky dream. It's a pretty geeky dream, but the reality is that we're increasingly dependent on our home networks these days because of the amount of stuff that is connected to it. Especially if we have a look at home applications with the ever-expanding connected household. We're just looking at, we're just looking at various different applications with these two access points that you can see there, but we need to face the fact that little consumer-grade combinations of modems and wireless access points, either provided via your ISP or you bought from a local PC store, will no longer be able to provide you with the connectivity that you require. Okay, and let's be honest, the struggle to provide fast and reliable connectivity across the house to all your devices has also become a necessity. That very architecture that predates smartphones, connected TVs, and the frankly ridiculous array of IoT things we have spread all over the place. I'm thinking there's fridges and washing machines and all these weird and wonderful things. Think about it. One access point plugged into the most convenient location for the phone or cable line is precisely what we did 15 years ago, and that just, it's not going to cut it anymore. Ubiquiti's AC Lite and AC Pro, as you can see, there are incredibly good examples of architecture that can be deployed in a house and small to medium businesses. With attributes such as band steering, EDA 2.11 AC, on the AC Pro side that has got 3x3 MIMO strands, dual band indoor and outdoor access points, they will deliver the promise of a proper connected household, guaranteed. The Ubiquiti AC Pro will also deliver over a gigabit throughput on the 5 GHz spectrum which is perfect for deployment when you have multiple smart devices. We just discussed the devices such as smart TVs and laptops, those type of things. So paying for a 5, 10, or even 20 meg line with bad Wi-Fi defeats the purpose. UniFi is also the perfect home application where control is more focused on, let's say, web security and access. Parents out there, for example, you want to put restrictions in place for when your kids can access the Wi-Fi. You can set up a separate SSID and apply a scheduled access policy to it, while the grown-ups, of course, get a different SSID, different experience altogether. One thing we also need to consider with these access points is, given the current state of affairs within the South African or global environment with Corona, many people have started working from home or have started small businesses, medium businesses, I'm sure at this stage, and all of this is applicable to your growing business. Home mesh applications. Some of you that might not be familiar with the UniFi Flex HD, you will see that the form factor is a little bit different than what Ubiquiti normally produces. But all of us have that one place we can think of immediately where the Wi-Fi connection is, well, not all that great. With Ubiquiti UniFi's software platform, you'll be able to do something called heat mapping. There is a little bit of a talk on heat mapping later in the presentation, but this will basically assist you to deploy your access points before you, or place your access points before you need to deploy them. Okay, you will be able to see what your coverage is, and of course, what is your throughput delivery on that heat mapping. So the nice thing about it is that it will actually allow you to draw walls, doors, windows, all of those beautiful things that you can mimic your own environment to make sure that your application is correct. Okay. The benefits of mesh wireless networks, it gives you the advantage of multiple access points without needing to run cable. But why not just add an extender? Is the question that I get often. Mesh systems typically work better than a standalone all-in-one router, for instance, with an added wireless repeater. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A typical wireless repeater essentially reduces your throughput to half. Scalable enterprise Wi-Fi management, which like UniFi is the revolutionary Wi-Fi system that will combine enterprise performance with your management controller. In other words, your controller that you can manage and monitor all of your application. So with the UniFi Flex AP, for instance, this is an HD access point. It has a small, sleek design and compact form factor that can easily be deployed indoors or outdoors. The nice thing about this specific unit is the Flex is ideal for high-density client deployments requiring low latency and high uptime performance. Okay, the mounting options include table or desk mount at least, wall mount, pole mount, and then of course ceiling mount. So it looks like your little downlight is in your ceiling. It pretty much fits into the same space. It is the size of a 200 milliliter Coke can, but it will also just have a 5 centimeter that it will protrude through the ceiling. Okay. The UniFi AC mesh access points in turn have a refined industrial design, and it can be easily installed using the included mounting hardware. The ACM and the Pro version is the perfect mesh technology for, let's say, warehouse spaces and outside offices, for instance. More benefits of the UniFi's wireless uplinks to expand networks even further include technology that includes no set path back to the main point. The UniFi basically utilizes this method to increase Wi-Fi coverage in both consumer and a commercial setup. Pro for mesh, you don't need to pull as much cable, and you can get more coverage because your second and third ring of devices can be beyond Ethernet length limits. Something definitely to consider. The next device that I want to show you is definitely something that has made some headlines, is the Ubiquiti UniFi Dream Machine. Seeing that we've moved into that era, as I've mentioned previously, where businesses have found a home address, I would appreciate the opportunity to just take some time to introduce you to this dream machine. I'm not too sure how Ubiquiti chose this name. I'm very sure that a lot of them are very optimistic people. It must be a criteria that they set when you go there for an interview, but the dream machine nonetheless. UniFi Dream Machine from UniFi is still a very new release from Ubiquiti, and it's been placed in the spectrum of like a small-scaled wireless, small-scale wired and Wi-Fi network. The UDM is also the easiest way to introduce UniFi to homes and businesses, and it looks like a normal home router, but in UniFi's terms, it contains a controller, a router, a switch, and access point, and the managed gigabit, or it is a managed gigabit switch. It will also let you connect 4 devices, or of course then if you want to add more switches for more ports. And it's definitely capable, or it presents a capable security gateway for fast internet connections. Again, we have to ask ourselves the questions, what does this mean for a homeowner or business? For those of you that have worked with UniFi before, you'll be able to realize and appreciate this kind of unique architecture, and the UDM definitely stands out between the normal product line of Ubiquiti, specifically on your UniFi range. Most of the UniFi range are standalone devices, and it is up to the ISP, or then of course the homeowner, to choose the correct product for your needs. So the word kind of starter kit comes to mind, as this all-in-one unit really just integrates it all into one device with a lot of benefits. One device, multiple solutions. To add to this brilliance, it is all managed via one centralized management platform for you to monitor and manage your entire network. I've had someone ask me before whether if they've got an existing cloud key, whether they'll be able to incorporate that cloud key into the integrated cloud key within the UniFi Dream Machine. You would have to download whatever is on your previous cloud key and then basically load it into the integrated cloud key of your UniFi Dream Machine. We have some in the office. Please come through and have a look. They're quite, dare I say, dreamy. Let's have a look at UniFi as your next business partner. High performance, scalable, and reliable Wi-Fi for any office space. Ubiquiti UniFi's portfolio really is the perfect business partner. It consists of cloud-hosted services, or cloud devices rather, enterprise technologies with cost-disruptive prices. The access points, as if you've seen from 1 or 2 slides back, dual band indoor and outdoor access points with high throughput switches, and as I've mentioned, powerful security gateways. Office and enterprise solutions. To understand good business practice when deploying enterprise Wi-Fi solutions in a company is to understand the industry's challenges. One of the biggest challenge is, of course, staying connected. Okay. Connections need to be sustainable wherever you go in the office, whether you are on a smart device or in the office, or with network security, and everywhere you go, control is basically quite important, especially if you are in an office area. Network administrators are not able to control a network from one management platform, and normally fees, or these platforms at least, come with expensive licensing fees. It is applicable for services that is not even particularly managed by yourself. The thing that you also need to consider with deployment is flexibility. And with UniFi, it is definitely a platform that produces cost-disruptive prices with flexible solutions. Ubiquiti, however, can assist in application where dual band antennas are required, with high throughput switches and again powerful security gateways. Right, as you can see, enterprise technology, powerful security gateways, as I've said, with surely the network applications should be able to grow and adapt as the business grows and adapts. Let's have a look at some of the business side of things and access points. The unique features of each UniFi device provides you with the freedom to deliver the ideal solution for your application. In other words, something that you can set up yourself. For example, UniFi delivers on the core need of enterprise Wi-Fi, allowing users to seamlessly roam between access points. Think about an office environment. If you're on a Skype call and you move from one point to the next, that are easily managed by administrators from a single interface, whether you're on-site or off-site, making UniFi the ideal solution for small, medium, or even large offices. So in addition to this, again, the UniFi SDN platform will also cater for multi-branch organizations. So with the software, it actually defines the wide area network architecture that we all know as SD-WAN. This architecture connects the various branches to a central network and allow administrators to seamlessly control and adjust all branches, network, and security functions from a single location. Fortunately, I can't mention the brand, but we had a car dealership in the office not so long ago wanting to deploy this multi-branch organization attribute from SDN and then, of course, UniFi. So one of the little bit more powerful HD access points, of course, is the Nano. It is an indoor unit with over 1.7 megabits per second, 5 gigahertz. It's powered via the switch with as many as 200 concurrent users. Okay. It is perfect if you are in an office with high density. The Nano is applicable for a little bit more smaller offices, and the Flex can be used for meshing, which is another attribute you can deploy in your office if you want a mesh system. Of course, that specific unit is also available for outdoor and various ways of installation. Okay. The best thing about specifically the Flex as well is you can put it in close proximity of people. Like I've mentioned earlier, you can in actual fact mount it on a desk. It comes with little like rubber feet, so to prevent it from slipping. Yeah, and those type of added benefits. So Ubiquiti offers an enterprise solutions. You'll see that there are some UniFi security gateways and generation 2 switching. And I think it's important that we understand it is important to have proper switching. Switches from an integral part of any network, and decisions surrounding the correct switch will include things like capacity with enough Ethernet ports. This will be dictated by the amount of devices, for instance, that you want to link to your switch. You need to run them obviously from a switch and have enough ports if you plan to grow your network. Ubiquiti UniFi switches are perfect if you're required to deploy in a network environment that needs a little bit more, dare I say, manageability and scalability. So many of these UniFi switches will power a combination of cameras, access points, and then of course other PoE devices by supporting 24-volt passive and or at a 2.3 AF8T PoE outputs. Right. As you can see, there is one or two examples of the generation 2 switches. The first one, 1.3-inch LCM touch screen. So the nice thing about that is that you can do status updates. You can actually see what is happening, the status information on the switch. The other aspect that's different from the generation 1 is, of course, the fanless design. It is a gigabit layer 2 switch. It provides gigabit PoE links, and then port detection on your app, on your phone. Ubiquiti has recently updated their UniFi app. So when you have these generation 2 switches and they're up and running in your server room, wherever you want to deploy these, you literally take your phone access the app and you take your phone to the switch, it will scan the ports of every single switch and give you the exact status of every port on what it is connected to, what is the status of that connection. It's brilliant. You don't even have to go into the actual software platform to manage your devices. It will tell you every single piece of information that you need purely by scanning the switch from your port detection accessibility on the app. So for those of you guys that already have Generation 2 switching, please update your UniFi app on your phone, of course available from Google Play and your Apple Store. And yeah, so the SFP ports enable network uplinks up to 1 gigabit, which is part of the switching attributes. It processes traffic on all ports simultaneously, can power PoE devices, as I've mentioned, with the difference in cameras and access points and those type of things. And of course, you have your UniFi security gateways, 2 of which we have available. The Pro, which is a rack-mountable form factor with fiber connectivity. It has a gigahertz processor for maximum hardware accelerated performance. And then, of course, the other USG that is wall-mountable with dual-core 500 megahertz processor. Okay. There's just a bit of an example of a Ubiquiti system, which of course consists of your gateway, your switch, and then basically just whatever it is connected to with your enterprise platform. It really is a robust deployment, or it is for robust deployment, and it is an all-in-one package. Cannot state this enough. It is all managed and monitored via SDN platform, which is license free. Let's have a look at the commercial and public services. Right. Something that has become definitely an implicit expectation for any commercial or public property is the service of Wi-Fi. If you think about how many people actually go to restaurants and coffee shops, or even your own office cafeteria to have meetings, or do your work while you're sipping a coffee. Doing morning's work, this has kind of become the norm for many. And businesses will soon be operational again, of course, after the corona. Whether operated from home or office, if you deploy UniFi, you will basically reap the benefits of the UniFi deployment. If you think at TripAdvisor and those guys, the first thing you do is you have a look at whether the hotel or the next accommodation trip that you're making does have Wi-Fi. Like I said, it's definitely become an implicit expectation for any commercial property. UniFi is easy to set up and manage multiple applications. With UniFi, you can easily manage and monitor these applications with living, breathing flexibility. You can set your network up for staff, for instance, and guests with separate SSIDs, or control guest connectivity via, let's say, a voucher or online authentication. And as part of these services, you can also throttle data or give time limits, leaving you in control. So I'm thinking about, let's say your staff is spending too much time on social media. You can actually block that for a certain connection group of people. For instance, like I said, it's feature reach configuration and future, my apologies. And if you need more configuration, you can always just add. Okay. Having a Wi-Fi connection is definitely one thing. As you can see there, the first point, stable internet. The Wi-Fi connection, if it is not so stable, obviously has a different outcome on your experience. So now being productive in an environment like that, while connecting to the same access point as, let's say, 30 other people in the room, sometimes can be challenging. So this counts for outdoor sites as well. Think about universities and other events that are outside. if you take into consideration the amount of people that actually share things easier when the connection is stable, things like Facebook check-ins or selfies and location marks, and use this as marketing or data capturing, who the customers are, likes, dislikes, reviews, those type of things. When people tag, share, or check in to more if they provide this Wi-Fi service. So for instance, if you think about restaurants, people sending photos and uploading it to the review page on Google, for instance. Good connection on Wi-Fi, good experience. And one of UniFi's core principles is a centralized, consistent experience, whether you're setting up your network at home or whether you are part of a large hotel group. Speaking of large hotel groups, I'm just thinking now that Miro proudly, with a company called ipcon, has done the tallest building in Africa, namely the Leonardo. That has all been done via Miro and ipcon, and we are proud to announce that that is all being done with the UniFi portfolio. Okay, if you want to read more about that article, it is available on Miro's website, or alternatively, you can also speak to me individually. More of the applications that we can have a look at with regards to the access points that we can add there. I've just familiarized you guys with the Nano HD and then of course the UAP Flex HD. It really is a great combination if you are looking for mesh, again with the Flex, and then of course just a more powerful unit on the Nano HD if you've got smaller spaces, either in offices or those type of things. With the MU-MIMO technology, it also generates high throughput, and it's just versatile. It works. Right, Ubiquiti UniFi Dream Machine Pro. The dream continues. There's a growing demand to have Wi-Fi, as I've said, pretty much everywhere. And with it, this need no longer is bound to just home Wi-Fi. Setting up your own home, small or medium business even, can be quite a daunting task. So many aspects to consider. The control of my network, how guests or mates will log into my network, home and office security. There are cameras in and around this building. Where does the footage go? Ubiquiti has been the leader in managed Wi-Fi solutions across the globe. A trusted brand with a reputation to deliver the goods. As part of their vast portfolio, they have switches and security gateway to monitor and manage any network. Considering a new network application and the minimum requirements for, let's say, a small environment such as an apartment or to the other effect, a larger office or retail space even, the choice becomes very clear. Introducing Ubiquiti's UniFi Dream Machine Pro. UniFi Dream Machine Pro is, and this is the best part, an all-in-one network appliance. It thrives in an application where scalable solutions are required. If having control is, like I said earlier, more than just a bit of a life's philosophy, this unit will create serious excitement while you view your status information from a 1.3-inch smart touch screen, very similar to that we spoke about with the Generation 2 switches. It has advanced, powerful security features. UDM Pro also includes firewall policies with threat management, acting as a guard for your network with intrusion prevention, for instance, which means that you can easily select and customize levels of security to prevent hacking, internet traffic, and flag websites with, let's just say, bad reputations. With the UDM Pro's integrated gigabit switch and cloud key controller, you can easily power, manage your access points, and monitor your surveillance license-free. The footage of the camera then, of course, is stored within the built-in NVR, and with multiple redundancy options, you are ensured that your network will remain operational. Let's say you're taking a break from life and work, which many of us, dare I say, dream about. The UDM Pro has UniFi Protect, which is also available on your mobile app, which will enable you to securely view the recordings that, of course, has been stored privately on your UDM Pro. With attributes such as management capabilities, multi-site management, powerful security setups, an integrated 8-port switch with 10 gigabit SFP plus ports, and a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core processor. The UDM Pro is definitely all that what this Ubiquiti stuff is made of. Definitely worth it. Okay, let's move forward with the UniFi Dream Machine Pro's bullet points. As I've mentioned, it has integrated switch, it's got a power supply, redundancy and failover, the UniFi network controller, built-in NVR for your surveillance storage, powerful security, endpoint scanning, UniFi Protect. I think it's time that you make the right switch with Ubiquiti UniFi switching. Being able to centrally manage your network does add, of course, to the convenience of the UniFi switches. UniFi offers fully managed gigabit switches, delivering robust performance and intelligent switching for growing networks. With forwarding capacity to simultaneously process traffic on all ports at line rate without any packet loss, something to consider, or the reason why you would consider a UniFi switch as well. But again, the question is, what does this all mean for a home setup or a growing business requiring more control, more security? Let's have a look at why UniFi stands out in a crowd. Powerful enterprise switch models. Okay, it's got PoE plus flexibility, which means that the UniFi switch models are available with 24 or 48 PoE gigabit Ethernet ports to simplify your infrastructure. By default, however, I have to tell you that the UniFi switch automatically detects 802.3 AF or AT devices, so they will automatically receive PO. For 24-volt passive PoE devices, manually enable your 24-volt passive PoE, and of course you can do this via your UniFi controller software. Okay. Fiber connectivity. UniFi switches provide fiber connectivity options for easy expansion of your networks. Each UniFi switch model, of course, includes 2 SFP ports for uplinks of up to 1 gigabit per second, and each 48-port model adds 2 SFP plus ports for high-capacity uplinks of up to 10 gigabits per second. So you can directly connect to a high-performance storage server or deploy a long-distance uplink to, let's say, another switch. The UniFi controller is designed for convenient management. The UniFi controller software will also allow admins to configure and, of course, monitor UniFi switches and other UniFi devices using a graphical interface. Multi-site management, as I've mentioned previously, it's a single instance of where the UniFi controller run in the cloud, and it can be managed, or it can rather, let's just say, manage multiple UniFi sites within the centralized interface. Switch configuration, you can access any managed UniFi switch through the UniFi controller to configure a variety of features. Switch port status, yeah, I almost feel like I need to apologize, but this whole port detection is really something. You can view your status information from your app, the connection speed, the duplex mode, your TX and RX data rates, your PoE status, and just a general network overview. Okay. Your Ubiquiti switching deployed. You can also, Ubiquiti switching deployed. You can have a look there. We've got some cameras up with the G3 Flex. You've got the USW Pro 24, and that's all connected via a UDM Pro, of course, powering your USW Pro power supply, 2 power supplies. There's a UAP Flex in there, and of course, connecting your 2 client devices, one with Wi-Fi and the other one with Ethernet. Let's have a look at the cloud key, powerful remote cloud key management. So if you have decided not to load the controller on your Windows machine or server, you can use a hardware device called a cloud key. There are 2 options available. It's a Ubiquiti device that you can basically just plug into your switch, and it's powered via a PoE-enabled port with the Pure function built by Ubiquiti to basically just run your UniFi controller. Okay, the 3 options for cloud key management is the generation 1, the generation 2, and of course your generation 2 cloud key plus, which is more for your surveillance side of things. So a quick overview, the generation 2 can accommodate 50 devices, in other words your access points. It is Bluetooth enabled, it has a 2 gigabit RAM, and of course the SDN controller you can just basically use to manage and monitor your site. Basically the equipment that you leave on, as I said, your customer premises. The Cloud Key Plus has got a terabyte storage that you can upgrade to 5 terabits for more surveillance. If you have the need to load more surveillance recordings, it can account for 20 cameras. It's got UniFi Protect on it, also 50 device. It can manage 50 devices. And then of course, it allows for easy setup via Bluetooth. Just to show you what the UniFi Protect will actually look like on your screen, as you can see, there are numerous accessibility features on this actual part of the application of UniFi. There's seamless integration that Ubiquiti has. Of course, you can do between your switches and your access points and everything in between. As I've mentioned, with heat mapping, this is a phenomenal service that Miro can also assist you with. You can bring in your plans and we can have a discussion with our technical team, speak to your dedicated sales engineer, and we can help you set up to deploy the perfect Wi-Fi in your either office or home. And like I said, you can even see what your throughput will be and what your coverage will be as well. So it's an added value benefit for Miro as a business partner with Miro. So please feel free to give us a call on that. Right, just a couple of key features with software-defined network, as I've mentioned, remote management, enterprise Wi-Fi, multiple branch organizations, tailor-made solutions, control mesh technology, perfect for home applications, especially if you're looking at web security, managed through the cloud, and scalable networks. Right, in summary, Ubiquiti's UniFi boasts a very powerful set of features that offer users exactly what they want at an affordable price. UniFi offers service providers and network administrators wired and wireless high-performance network devices that can be centrally managed and monitored through a simple software controller that is designed for convenient management. The UniFi software-defined network platform is equipped with device discovery, provisioning, and management of all your UniFi devices, spanning, of course, over a multiple location or spanning over multiple locations. And of course, providing the best possible solution from an incredibly attractive price point. Whether it be enterprise, commercial, home, public Wi-Fi, I assure you, UniFi has you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is me. I enjoyed having this presentation with you and introducing you to something that is Ubiquiti UniFi. Yeah, incredibly blessed to be in this position.